training. We pray, Jehovah, that you may be with us, you may walk with us, Father, for the glory and honor of your name. We pray that what you're going to learn will be put into practice. We commit our speaker and even the other members into your hands, oh God, that you may speak to them, that they may be able to convey the messages that will help us in our future. We thank you, we honor you. In Jesus' mighty name, we do pray and believe.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate that prayer. So we are recording the webinar, and for the sake of future reference, if you would like to reference back, you can always play it from the ACHRP portal, and also at the same time be able just to interact, to get the notes and to refer back to everything that we have previously done, just to tie in everything. I think it really forms a good basis of what other trainings have been there and how can I plug in, important as it is. So a recap, I would like to hear a recap, the thought process, what really stood up for you yesterday. If there's any also question, I'm happy to take that question before we proceed. Anyone? Just a recap of yesterday. Nice interaction it was. I really enjoyed it. I'm sure it's the same for today. That something stood up very out for you. Mary, without putting you on the spot, anything that you took away that was really mind-blowing for you?
Hello, good morning.
Joseph.
Yeah, for me, it's just the point where we learned that SWOT analysis can be used and not limited to only profit-seeking organizations. That was a big learning opportunity for me.
Yeah.
And also on the 4 quadrants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well done. Yes, the 4 quadrants of the SWOT analysis, and of course we can use SWOT in all areas of our lives. Someone else?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. For me, what I took most were the number of variables which are at play on each of the quadrants, which you need to understand as you make any decision.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think it's really important for us to be able to look at how we make decisions for myself, for the company, and for the business unit. You know, we have an opportunity to make sure that we make those decisions, and we make them very well for us to be able to internalize and make good decisions. Yeah, thank you, Maurice. Someone else? Someone else? Okay, so
Yes,
the first, yeah. Mary?
I captured when do we need to do a SWOT analysis?
Mm-hmm.
When our teams have not met targets, when we want to improve customer service, when we are launching new business, and when there's new team member.
Exactly. Yeah, a great opportunity for us to be able to use SWOT analysis when we have big ticket items, like what I like to call them. You know, there is need for us to be able to use the SWOT analysis. And then after that, we have clarity of mind for us to be able to take it forward around, let's make a strategy, or let's improve the strategy, or let's improve the processes that we have in this organization. And I think now just into these quadrants around, you know, making sure that we are looking at the internal, and internal is your strengths and your weaknesses. And then the external factors are your opportunities and your threats. And how do you marry these two? You know, internal, my strength, how do I capture the opportunity out there? And my strength, how do I make sure that I'm looking at within my strengths, I'm looking at the threats that can actually come towards me and my business, and how do I actually make sure that I hedge myself and I look at those risks and what to do about them. And then, of course, the internal, my weaknesses, I'm also matching them to my opportunities. How can I really invert the narrative for me to be able to know that, well, I have these weaknesses, but there are opportunities out there. How am I going to grab them and make sure that I am moving forward? And finally, the fourth quadrant, around weaknesses and threats at the same time. I have weaknesses and I have threats. Oh my gosh, I just feel now what's going to happen to me and what's going to happen to my business, and this is very, 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 very profound around, it's working against me internally, it's working against me externally, but how do I soldier on? You don't work in isolation. You work with all these quadrants to see how best to fit in and what are your low-lying fruits, what can you grab and go and make sure that your ship still continues to be steady. Very important. I like those all learning points, very, very articulate. And of course, now, how do we set strategies? We've done all these, we've done the SWOT analysis, we are happy with them, and we really know where we are. We want now to put pen to paper. And of course, we come together around the table and say, what's the goal and what's the objective? And we challenged each other yesterday and said, there's no need of us making all these elaborate strategies. We make great strategies without actually now starting from the known. And the known is always to do a SWOT analysis, apply. And thank you, Mary, for also highlighting where we can also use the SWOT analysis going forward. And then we put up what's the aim, what's your goal, what's your objective, and then assess, what did the SWOT say around your goal and your objective, and then activate, identify the strengths and measures of success and how to take advantage of them, activate, and then finally make sure that you're actually applying it and running with it and making sure that you actualize it. And also applying it means that you have a framework of how to assess it, the successes that you're meeting, the failures that you are going through. If the boat has changed, reevaluate it and come back and say, the environment has really changed internally and externally, and we need to be alive to the fact that our strategies cannot be inflexible. They must mutate themselves. They must be progressive. If we are constantly evaluating them, finding out where we are, then it's easier for us to be able to do what? To see where we can change. And the SWOT analysis is a great technique and a great tool for us to be able to do what? To navigate through that flexibility. So thank you. So we want to continue today. And then who's come across TOS analysis? Threats, opportunities, weaknesses, and strengths. So what jumps out of your mind? What really jumps out of your mind when you see this, TOS?
What I can see there is they are the same 4 quadrants, but in terms of setup, it seems we are starting from the other side.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, we are starting from the other side. So what does it mean from starting from the other side? Who's ever come across it? Is it the first time? Or you'll just say, oh, they've just inverted it, there's it's okay now, it's fine. They've just inverted it and made it more fancy. Anyone? Okay, so it's indeed what Maurice has said. Inverted, we start with strengths and opportunities, strengths and weaknesses, very, very specific, and TOS analysis involves the same basic processes of listing your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities and threats as in SWOT analysis. However, in TOS analysis, threats and opportunities are examined first and weaknesses and strengths are examined last. That's all. That's the basis, after creating a list of it's the same. So what are my threats? What are my weaknesses? And then why should we examine the threats and opportunities first, and then we come to the strengths and the weaknesses? You know, that you might ask that question. So after creating a list of threats, opportunities, weaknesses, and threats, managers examine the way the company can take advantage of opportunities and maximize threats by exploiting threats and overcoming weaknesses. So we are looking at how, you know, we are looking at the critically at these two put together, you know, threats and opportunities together. We've listed the threats and we've listed the opportunities, but what we are doing here is we are making sure that we can get out and make sure that we are looking into this together. So I'm looking at my threat, and then I'm looking at how I can actually capitalize on my threats through my opportunities. The same thing, I have weaknesses, but I don't want these weaknesses to weigh me down. I know they're there, but I will look how I can plug my strengths and overcome my weaknesses. So it's just that it's a more, you know, conscious effort to say, okay, fine, I have strengths, I have weaknesses, and just saying, I'll swim them as they come. But this is more aggressive around, you know, I'm taking the bull by the horn. Okay, you've told me I have threats, and these are the threats. Okay, tutonana nazo, you know, bring my opportunities. What are my opportunities? I will almost speaking to the threats and saying, it's fine, but I have also these opportunities. I will not let them weigh me down. I know they're there, and I will come and almost camouflaging them with my opportunities. The same with the weaknesses and the threats. I understand they're there, but I will bat you head on, you know, in terms of simmering my weaknesses. So that's the overall a technique that you can use when you use the SWOT analysis. And what happens is that because sometimes we are so taken aback by threats and weaknesses, they almost paralyze us, you know. And then we come and say, well, because they're paralyzing us, and that's how the human nature is, you know, we are so sucked up in our threats and in our weaknesses, we lose the bigger picture of seeing the opportunities and the threats. That's where we are saying, I will come and I will not sweep them under the rug, because I have to address them. And addressing them is through capitalizing on my opportunities as my strength, and actually now joining them together and saying, let's move on. We get it? Thus, let's just read and finalize it. Thus, you can see that both SWOT and SWOT analysis involve the same basic steps, and so may likely produce similar results, which is true. However, the order in which managers think about strengths, weaknesses, threats, and opportunities may make a different impact on the direction of the analysis, like what I have said. And that's what happens, makes a big impact on the direction of the analysis and what you're going to focus on. This is because focusing on strengths and opportunities first help lead to productive discussions about what is going on in the external environment. So you do not just start by concentrating on abstract discussions about what a company is good at or bad at. You know, we are first saying those are our competitors, and our competitors are doing this. So let me first concentrate on them. And while I'm concentrating on them, knowing that the opportunities and their threats, I'm also now saying I am so clear, and I have this clarity beyond shadow of a doubt on how to address my threats, because I have also capitalized on my opportunities and done it. So I have taken care of the external factor. So let me come internal. And internally, what do I have? I know that I have really got weaknesses and I have strengths. This is in my domain. This is my domain. I am so I'm so comfortable here that nobody can come and shake me. So I am the king. I am the ruler of the jungle internally, you know, and this is what I'm able to do. Right? Not that I am not saying that I don't have weaknesses, but those weaknesses, I'm able to tackle them much more comfortably because I've already addressed the external factors that are there. So internally, yes, what are my weaknesses? And these weaknesses, I am going to capitalize on my strengths and get them moving. So it's just another way of where your priorities. You know, do you feel very, very threatened by your external factors? If you do as an organization and you've already put your house in order, then start tackling the external environment. And then after that, come to the easier one of the internal exam, the easier one that is internal. It's just like doing an exam. In fact, that's a good example. Where you go and you're already doing the exam. And the exam paper comes, and then you look at it, oh my gosh, number one, this examiner has just decided to start the exam like this. And then you look at number two, number two I can tackle, you know, I feel good about it, you know. Number three, wishy-washy. Number four. So you take what is very comfortable for you, and comfortable for you keeps you at ease. You're able to tackle it. You take and say, I can save that. This difficult one, let me start with it because it's a compulsory question. So you tackle it, and then when you come to the easy one, it's a breeze. You're easy. You're very comfortable in doing that. So that's the same thing that we want to take away from the TOS analysis. But they all do the same thing: the SWOT analysis and the TOS analysis. A TOS analysis involve the same basic processes of listing strengths and weaknesses, opportunities. Yeah, it's the same thing that I have just I have read in that other slide. Any question? Any question? So it goes on to say that the SWOT and TOS analysis use the same factors for analysis. SWOT and TOS are sometimes used interchangeably, by the way, without regard to the other order, that strengths, weaknesses, threats, and opportunities are examined. So it's the same. And some people use it interchangeably, just depending on what you want to do in your organization. What's the urgency? Is it the external factor or is it the internal factor? And you can get a lot more information from the internet regarding the TOS and the SWOT analysis, just the similarities, but that's what it is. You know, they don't let it take you off balance in terms of understanding where we are coming from. Any question before we move on? Any question before we move on? Okay. So a tip for us: matching and combating is one way of utilizing SWOT. Matching is using to find competitive advantage by matching the strengths to the opportunities. It's just like what a recap of the quadrants that we did. And then matching and combating. Finding new markets is a new example of conversion strategy. You know, we are matching, we are finding that. Converting is to apply conversion strategies to convert weaknesses into strengths, into opportunities, just like what we said. Moreover, if the threats or weaknesses cannot be combated, then an organization should try to minimize them or avoid them altogether. You know, so matching. Finding your competitive advantage by matching the strengths to their opportunities, just like what we have been saying. And converting is to apply conversion strategies to convert weaknesses to threats, you know, into strengths, weaknesses or threats into strengths or opportunities. Just making sure that you can invert your narrative of the TOS analysis. So looking into what you can do. So just a helpful tip that we can do that. Okay. So let's look at a life example, just to jog our mind. We all know about Walmart. Walmart is a big chain of supermarket. It's like what's a big chain now? Maybe like our neighbors, any big supermarket that we have in the country. So Walmart stores, also knows that Walmart is an American multinational retail corporation. Includes chains of large discount department stores and warehousing stores. According to Fortune 500, and that's why we took this case study, list in 2012, Walmart was the world's largest public corporation. It is also the biggest private employer in the world with over 2 million employees. Can you imagine? It's the whole of like which county combined? Maybe like Northeastern, when it was, I still call it maybe the count. Now we're in the counties, but when you think maybe when you combine all those Garissa, Wajir, Moyale, Marsabit, Isiolo, maybe you'll get to 2 million people. So when you combine all that, can you imagine all those people are employed by Walmart, by one company? Let us look at the basic SWOT analysis of Walmart. What do you think it would be? So for when you think about your brand and when you think about this Walmart, what do you think would be happening to them? So some of their strengths, and maybe we all know, and if you've heard about Walmart or even visited a Walmart in your various travels, you would know that it's a powerful retail brand and good reputation. Those are their strengths, isn't it? They provide value for money. They have efficient procurement processes. And think about a supermarket that, let's think about, in fact, after we look at this SWOT analysis for Walmart, let's think about a big chain that we had, Nakumat. What would have happened to Nakumat? The story is out there, and unfortunately a big brand that one day just we woke up and it had trouble and it was not able to redeem itself. Sustained, so let's continue, efficient procurement processes, sustained growth over recent years, experience of global expansion, good use of information technology to support its international logistics system, focused strategy on HR management and development, and so those are their strengths. And then their weaknesses, because let's look at the internal factors first. Control problem due to the sheer size of being the world's largest grocery retailer. Despite its IT advantages and leveraging on technology, it faces some weak areas due to high span of control, huge span of control. A lot of people, 2 million people. Well, in fact, you might work there all your years and never meet a third of your employees. You travel to another country and say, oh, I also work for Walmart. You work for Walmart. In which country? In India. You get what I mean? I also work for Walmart. In which country? Maybe Nigeria, something like that. Interesting. Lacks focus, unlike some of the competitors, due to the various products across so many sections, too many products that they have. You remember where Nakumatu used to say, you got it, you need it, we've got it. I think that was their tagline or something. It stayed with me for a long time. The company is global, but it only has a presence in relatively few countries worldwide. Weakness. So externally, what are some of the opportunities that they have to take over merger with or from strategic alliances with other global retailers, because they've done it, they know it, they can be able to purchase smaller retailers, focus on specific markets such as Europe, opportunities for future business in expanding consumer markets such as China and India, look for new locations and different store types, So what are some of their threats? Exposure to threats to political problems in the local countries that Walmart operates in, being the constant target for competition locally and globally due to being number one in the world. Nobody wants you to be number one. Even in life, people always want to dislodge you. People want always to dislodge others. competition due to lower manufacturing costs, due to outsourcing to low-cost regions in the world, price competition, which results in price deflation in some ranges. So what do you think when you look at this life example of Walmart, what do you take out of it? And what are some of the things that have also, you feel that could be a strength, could be an opportunity, a threat, or a weakness that have not been mentioned here? Weakness or strength, especially post-pandemic. Anything that comes to mind in this Walmart case? Anything that really jumps to mind post-pandemic? Maurice, Mary, I'm just calling the people out in the panel who are out in the panel. Anyone that you think that would do much better? They would maybe increase their chances of continuing being number one.
Yeah, I'm just seeing an opportunity, Catherine. I think we've been observing the trend post the pandemic. What has been happening with regards to companies such as Walmart, where you used to have, in terms of dependency, 100% of your clientele as walk-ins, where you would go physically to purchase. Of course, the opportunity which they have even now is just to have home deliveries where there is online purchases for their clients, and then they partner with other companies so that deliveries are made. So that's a big opportunity for them. Because of the pandemic, the number of walk-ins to an extent is reduced in some ways. Most people, they prefer not to interact in crowded areas. As we all know, supermarkets are one such area. So they've got an opportunity there.
Exactly. To leverage on technology and partner with delivery companies, because that is not their core business. And I like what you are saying, Maurice. It's not their core business. Delivery is not your core business. You outsource it and you let people do it here. Very, very true. Someone else, what you can see as a strength that has not been highlighted, weakness, threats, or opportunity? What do you think is going to happen to big malls in the future? Big malls, they have humongous big malls, big stores, brick and mortar. What's going to happen? Because in the area of internet of things, we order things online, purchase online. What's going to happen to those big warehouses and stores that people walk in, but people are no longer walking in your opinion? Anyone? Because almost everything is going online now. Any thought around that? What's going to happen to those big stores? It's the same I hear in Europe that some churches closed and they became museums because there were no congregants no longer going to church, and they could just be a handful over time. The handful people also stopped coming, and they had to convert the churches to museums and to recreational places. Can you imagine? Very unfortunate.
I think the same, Catherine, can is going to happen to the big malls. Remember my example, which I gave of banks, the brick and mortar. Yeah, I can foresee that happening. So large supermarkets like we have now Carrefour, Naivas, I think they are thinking of strategies given the online opportunities, because the walk-in customers, indeed, they are going to reduce. They've reduced, and they are going to. Maybe unless if the pandemic is going to completely be eradicated and then people forget about the pandemic, then they revert to the old ways. Remember, 100 years back, influenza, people forgot about it, and we started those our old habits. Maybe some 5 years to come, people would have forgotten about Corona, and we revert to. I'm not sure.
Yeah, could be. We'll have forgotten about Corona, COVID, and we'll have found better vaccines. I'm not saying the vaccines which are here now are not good. They're good, and if I hear we should all be champions of encouraging people to take the vaccine, and we'll have found it, we'll have contained it. In fact, that's the word I should have used. We will have contained it, and everybody will go back to as if, the good old days. We come back and everything is hunky-dory and we are going on with our normal lives. But I think the ground has really shifted. Internet has come to really show us how efficient we can be in many things that we thought that we could not rely on internet. And one of the things that we also know is that internet will continue to be cheaper, and it will penetrate to the remotest areas. So there will be a better way of trading, connecting people, and people will be more drawn into using internet and leveraging on technology for their day-to-day lives. I think that's what we will see, and that's what I foresee in the future. I mean, when you read about the telecom space, what's going to happen in a couple of years, what they envision, you just think, oh my gosh, my fridge will talk to me and tell me, Catherine, there are only 2 more tomatoes remaining, and look at my lifestyle and say, you use 12 tomatoes in a week, and now it's 12. There are only 2, so you need to replenish. And I think those are already there, those kind of technologies leveraging on them, and just thinking, wow. Do you ever see, I think people SWOT you already, the AI technology, they already, they follow you in a way of making you have preferences and choices, and directing traffic to where you have shown interest. Have you ever looked for a shoe or anything that interests you? Let's say you're on Facebook looking for shoes or something. The next time you open your email, I mean, your personal email, Google or Yahoo or Gmail, then there are panels here saying, oh, shoes from China, and Alibaba and everybody else. You wonder why or anything that you have just been interested in, and you will see a lot of filters coming your way to interest you to do that. So I think the connectivity and the algorithms that have been set, in terms of life, there is no way this week, I can't believe how, I don't know whether it's magic or whatever it is. Like, let's say I'm doing research on SWOT analysis. Even before I finish, all the filters there, all the suggestions have been given to me. You get what I mean? It's amazing. I just think, have you read my mind? Or I don't know, because I'm just thinking, how is this possible? But of course, maybe the algorithms, they have set them in a way that they can almost imagine what you are working on, and they make it easier for you. So it will continue to be extremely important in terms of what we do, and technology has a great place to play in when you do your SWOT analysis. Even as an individual, how efficient do you want to be? And without without thinking about technology, then you will have disadvantaged yourself in a big, big way. Okay. Anything else, guys, that we may have left out in this analysis for Walmart? Analysis for Walmart. You know, you see clear, very clear stages, very clear points in terms of who they are. Okay, let's move on. Thank you for that. So, question. Which of the following is not an internal factor for an organization? Internal: personnel, technology, competition, economic factors. Is an internal factor? Which of the following is an internal factor? Is it personnel? Is it technology? Is it competition? Is it economic factors? When you think about what's inside your organization that you can't miss, easy peasy, easy peasy. So what do you think it is? Is it personnel?
Yeah, it's personnel. It's personnel, Catherine. That is the only factor which is within the organization's control. Your human resources.
Fantastic.
Technology has got dependencies with external variables. Competition is external. Economic factors equally external. But your personnel, your human resources, they are yours, and you have got 100% control over them.
Very true. It's personnel. That's the only thing that you have really you have control over. Anything else you don't have control over. As much as you can say I have technology, but that technology changes, and it can be a very strong it can be a strong threat for your business. So it's whatever. Economic factors out there, what's happening, government regulations, government deregulations, you have no control of that, you know. Economic factors, if you're in the farming industry, agriculture industry, sorry. So what happens? The rains didn't come, the fertilizers were banned from coming into this country because they didn't have the correct specifications, you know, stuff like that. And of course, we know competition. Competition definitely cannot be your external factor. It's a strong threat for your business, okay? So thank you very much. Any question before we move on? Any question before we move on? I want to come out from this slide. I'll stop share and go to another presentation. Allow me to do that just very quickly as we do that. Okay. Can see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay. Just before a short, because the one that I tried to prepare was not okay, there we go. I have them now. Okay. Can see it?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So let's look at the quadrant combination. Someone remind me the quadrant combination. We said, remind me the 4 quadrant combination. Internal, we matched opportunities with what?
Strength and opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
strength and threats,
Mm-hmm.
weaknesses and opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
and weaknesses and threats.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you, Mary. So we go on with the quadrants. The challenge of SWOT is the matching of specific internal and external factors, which creates a strategic metrics and which makes sense. The 4 combinations of the various factors of SWOT were described by Winrich in 1992 as follows: Maxi, strength and opportunities; Maxi-Mini, strengths and threats; Mini-Maxi, weaknesses and opportunities; and Mini-Mini, weaknesses and threats. You remember, Maxi, it's like I have Maxi, maximum, Maxi, it's really up there. And that's what we say is that when you have strengths and opportunities, you are at a great place. You get what I mean? You are at a real great place. In Maxi Mini, strengths and opportunities, you still have, I have the strength, I know what to do. I have the strength, but at the same time, I have identified the threats. Maxi, and then mini, minimum of what it is. And then quadrant number 3, weaknesses and opportunities. Mini, you have your mini, because then the opportunities and threats are mini, and then the opportunities are threats are your mini. So here you have mini. Okay, so let's look at the combination for each one of them. When we look at Maxi-Mini, strength and opportunities, Maxi, strength and opportunities, sorry about that, and Maxi-Mini, strength and strengths and threats, what does it mean? Maxi, this combination shows that the organization's strength and opportunities, the essence an organization should strive to maximize its strength to capitalize on new opportunities, isn't it? It's self-explanatory, honestly, in terms of a combination, a real good combination around strengths and opportunities. So we should strive to maximize its strength to capitalize on new opportunities. Then we come and look at the Maxi-Mini, the strength and the threats. The combination shows the organization's strengths in consideration of such threats, such as from competitors. So in essence, what should the organization do? It should strive to use the strength to parry or minimize its threats as much as possible. How can I minimize my threat? And one of the threats that I have identified is maybe competitors that are there. So how can I minimize? So I should capitalize on my strengths to minimize my threats. Maxi, weaknesses of opportunities. This combination shows the organization weaknesses in tandem with opportunities. It is an action to conquer the organization weaknesses in making the most of new opportunities. So we invert it. We know that indeed we have weaknesses. And at the same time, I am looking at the opportunities that I have. So what should I strive to do? That I know my weaknesses and make most of the new opportunities that I have. So that's what it means. And finally, the last quadrant is mini, a combination that shows the organization weaknesses by comparison with the current external threats. This is the most definitely a defensive strategy. And that's what I said. When you are here, your heart is pumping, and what defense strategy will I use? What ruthless, sometimes you can use guerrilla tactics, ruthless ways of making sure that I stay in survival. And those ruthless ways you must make sure that they don't hurt your brand image. You must make sure that they do not cause any illegality in the country that you are operating in. Otherwise, you will land yourself in trouble trying to defend yourself so much because you're in the quadrant of opportunities and threats. So how should we strive to when we are here? This is most definitely a defensive strategy to minimize the organization internal strength and avoid external weaknesses and avoid external threats. So that is what it is, just for you to make sure that even as you do your SWOT analysis, further go out and say, guys, we need to understand the quadrants. And this is what the quadrants say in reality, and where are we at? And put everything in this quadrant that can show you your strengths and opportunities. Look how clever you will look. And these are tried and tested ways of analyzing your business and even analyzing yourself. Next year, when you are doing your plans, your individual plans, what do we call them? What is that word? We make resolutions every morning, every beginning of the year. And then you will say, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? Please, even this picture, you must take it. You must take this slide. Either take a picture with your smartphone or whatever it is, or find it in the LMS and whatever. This is the most important quadrant for yourself and for your business. You'll come and say, I've done a SWOT analysis, but can I match my opportunities and my strength? And what am I striving on this that will help me propel to the next area? And then how am I matching my strengths and my weaknesses for me to be able to capitalize on all that? And then when I come to this very, 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 very difficult one, how defensive am I to make sure that I remain afloat in the resolutions and the goals that I want to meet? So continuously asking yourself, keeping it very alive to that, but when we are here, we almost panic. We're in this quadrant, we are almost panicking and just thinking, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? So the threat is retrenchment, for example. There is word that this company is going to retrench people, and I'm on the list. And then your weaknesses is that you have not finished. Maybe you are, what will you not have finished? Maybe you've not finished your CHRP. And all the companies that you see nowadays advertising are asking that you be a CHRP or you are registered with IHRM. Everything is going against you. So what can you do? How can you mitigate that kind of a scenario? What would you do? You've been retrenched. You don't have the papers. You kept saying, I'll go to school. I'll go to school. I'll go to school. What would you do? I see a lot of opportunities there for you. Instead of panicking and being defensive, and start taking, some of the defensive tactics will be taking your employer to court, saying that they have retrenched you unfairly. What would you see as an opportunity? You can also give another example that you think that would help us also look at our weakness. What would you do if you are faced with such a scenario? Allow me to stop share this. I go back to my slide as I wait for people to come up with some of the things that they would do. What would you do? What would you do when you're faced with such a scenario? Hey guys, you will, you'll tell me you have rich aunties and uncles and you don't have this kind of threats. What will you do? Mary, Joseph, Alex?
For me, Catherine, I'll take it as an opportunity. I think from my experience, I have seen also colleagues leaving the organization, be it through retrenchment. I take it as an opportunity. If confronted with such a situation, grab the package, start a side hustle if you had not started one, and who knows, maybe you do well there.
True, I do well there. Take it as an opportunity and see what you can do out of it. Joseph, what would you do? Yes, Agnes, yes, go ahead. Are you able to speak? Let me see. Yeah, let me put you to the panelist list. You can promote yourself. Please come to the panelist list. That's the only way you're able to speak. I promoted you to come to the panelist side. Yes, Agnes? What would you do?
Kathleen, I think it's not too late to rethink of what else you can do. Maybe you've been retrenched because of academic matters. You can decide to go back to school and give your best, or maybe explore areas that you feel that, or you think that you are strong in, and repackage yourself and explore, and then pick it from there. So I think if I was in that scenario, that's what I would have done.
Exactly. Thank you. That's good. Like what Marisa said, and we've seen these scenarios. How have people bounced back bigger and better? You know, what am I passionate about? What would I do? You know, who are my networks? How am I going to put food on the table, the next meal? Where is it coming from? As you're panicking, when you get into that panic mode and you now say, okay, fine, I've panicked good enough, well enough. So let me now look at what to do. What am I passionate about? Can I go back to school? I don't think it's ever late for us to be able to reinvent ourselves. That's the same for companies. You know, COVID came, or even before COVID, you know, we were trying to do better, produce better goods, provide better services to our clients. We've listened to the market. We've looked at what competition is doing. We've adhered to government regulations. The government has made more regulations about it and about our business. What can we do to be able to do that? Think about a company like, the gambling business that came in, and there was a lot of discussion about whether it is good or whether it's bad for the society. What do we do about gambling and betting in this country of ours? And betting mushroomed in every corner of this city and of this country. Actually, I went up country. I saw betting stations at our shopping center. And then, of course, it came from there, and it's also penetrated to online, you know, the ones who had smartphones and they could bet and stuff like that. And then one day the government woke up and said, no more betting, you know. And of course, the betting companies have positioned themselves to be great sponsors of various big sporting events in this country. So they were actually in many, you know, they had all these weaknesses internally, and they had all these threats externally. But did they survive? Did they survive? Or did they re-engineer themselves? What happened there, by the way? What happened to the betting companies? Oh, taking to court was one of the defensive strategy. Taking the government to court was a defensive strategy. What happened to the betting companies? And if you were the CEO, what would you do? You have 300 people working for you. These are real scenarios. MDs face big challenges. to keep the business afloat. If you were the MD of SportsPesa, what would you have done? Imagine this was a case study that you had to check through and see how it is. Anyone? Would you have done anything differently? Anything you would have done differently? Anyone would like to contribute?
Okay, Catherine, as a way of survival, I think SportPesa tried to adapt the means of sponsoring other teams. For instance, they sponsored an international team that was, I think, Everton. And I think that one was a way of ensuring that they're consistent in the industry, and also as a way of advertising the brand.
Yeah, true. The ones who had, and you see the ones who SportPesa, I think, was the one which had the most muscle they could. They were able to do what? Make it more better for themselves. I think the small betting ones fizzled out and they were not able to continue being in business, and that's how it is, if you have financial muscles, if you've already created a brand, an international brand, you can go back home or you can venture into those countries and continue being in those countries and maybe just look for a way to keep supporting, to keep alive in the country that is your, now this country becomes your shell company, you're just registered here, but you do businesses in the other countries and stuff like that. Businesses are real. It's tough being in business, and of course there was a lot of hue and cry from the citizenry around betting and stuff like that. Okay, so question coming up: which of the following represents mini-maxi combination of quadrants? Mini, maxi.
Yeah, that's weakness. Number 3C, weakness and opportunities.
Weaknesses and opportunities, mini, maxi. Someone else? You're correct, Maurice, and everybody else. I'm sure that is what you're thinking of. We weaknesses and opportunities. And what is strengths and which one would be mini? Is there any mini? Is there any mini here?
Yes.
Weakness.
Weakness and threats. Very good. Well done. I can see that we are all together. Well done. Okay, so let's move on. So what are the steps to follow when conducting a SWOT analysis? Very, it's things that we already know and we've been discussing, so I won't belabor over them too much. But if there's any question, if there's any reaction, and if you feel that you want to weigh in and maybe give an example, explore further, please feel free to chime in. So SWOT analysis, when you draw your quadrant, what should you be doing at? What should you be looking at? And of course, you are looking at your internal and external environment. Perform SWOT analysis and document. So how do you conduct the SWOT analysis? We said yesterday, look at the data, look at the information, look at the trends, listen to the said, to the unsaid, what do you see? How do you foresee it? When did you start seeing these trends and stuff like that? Put everything. In fact, at the analysis and documentation stage is where you are able to put in, now draw up your 4 quadrants and put in everything together. And whatever people say, don't say, no, that's not it and stuff like that. Put as much information as you can. Then start unpacking it, you know, and putting it together in a way that maybe this point and this point actually can be merged into one, or even these 5 points can be merged into one. So make it more clear, you know. You don't want 100 points and you still continue having 100 points for your strengths, for your SWOT analysis. So it's important just to make sure that that session is intense. It has depth. People are contributing for you to be able to prepare your action plans for going forward. And then analyzing the external and internal environment. We say the first step to the SWOT analysis is to analyze the situation, both internal and external aspects of what it is. Hence, carrying out an internal analysis will help you to find the strengths and weaknesses of the organization that can affect the situation that you're trying to address. On the other hand, carrying out the external analysis will help you find the opportunities and threats that are external, but will affect your organization in the situation, you know, so what it is. So the situation analysis, the internal, external, opportunity, strength, and opportunity, strength, and weaknesses. So what's helpful in terms of analyzing the internal and external environment? You will, like internal, you are looking at your strengths and your opportunities. Just further examples, and we have actually said this, would be technological skills that you have, leading brands, distribution channel, customer loyalty and relationships, product quality, scale management, you know. And for this, you are saying, you are discussing, if you highlight that, you've already put them together and you are actually unpacking it. What does it mean to have leading brands? Or if you are a leading brand, what does that mean? Articulately, not just throwing words there, you know. I like, you know, we should be able to unpack what we say. For example, if your manager in a meeting comes and says, there's no teamwork here, and ends there, how does it make you feel? Just say that. I don't see any teamwork here. How would it make you feel? Or how would you want it to be better said? Anyone? Anyone? Excuse me. Anyone? There's no teamwork. And just goes on to the next agenda. They've said something, but they have not said anything that will make us reflect. Maurice?
Yeah, I wanted to say, I would put it this way, rather than saying there is no teamwork here, I would say, colleagues, we need to collaborate more for us to achieve our agenda, rather than just shooting at them to say there is no teamwork here.
Yeah, better saying that we need to collaborate more to achieve our agenda, and even saying we need to collaborate more. Why do we need to collaborate? What is the basis of having better teamwork? You know, and I have observed, and also give us instances where you have observed that there is lack of teamwork, you know, but when you just leave us high and dry, you know, we all gather where? At the coffee pot. Did you hear what the boss said today? Really? And he's the one who doesn't even, you know, we start even now changing the narrative. Do you know he's even the one who does not have teamwork? Us guys even at least go out for coffee together. Him, you will never see him anywhere. We start changing, and that's how culture now start getting eroded. You know, someone wanted to weigh in on something? So it is very important for us to remember as leaders, or even people who are tasked with a certain responsibility that involves people, which all the time it does, let us unpack as much as it can, especially when we are giving feedback for people to understand that things are not going well. It's always helpful to make sure that we unpack, even when things are going well. People want to hear those praises and whatever. So what I'm trying to say, in all these quadrants, we must unpack. Maybe people say that people must unpack and people must understand what it really is. So the opportunities, changing customer threats, technological advances, change of government policies, lower personal taxes, change in demographic of population, new distribution channels, externally, opportunities that we can have, weaknesses internally, lack of important skills that we have, critical positions, we don't have people to hold those ones, weak brand image, poor distribution channels, lower customer satisfaction, retention, unreliable goods and services, subscale, poor management. For me as Catherine, what I don't like is that I go unreliable product quality and service, or you've started using a certain product. And the other day I was looking for it and very, very frustrating around reliability. And that, when there was ShopRite and Game, the brands that came from South Africa, they really have got nice, unique products. I was looking for the moisture absorber. Yes, absorber. When you have moisture somewhere in your room, in your house. So you put it and it absorbs moisture. Very good product. So, of course, Game closed. It went. So Carrefour brought it. I bought it one point. And then the other day, and they said, oh, it's out of stock and we don't know when it will come back. Essential product, at least for me, but it's not their unreliable product. And then I'm just thinking, where are the local manufacturers to capitalize on this product and bring it in the shelf, maybe even at a much lower cost, so very unreliable service. And sometimes even, I'm sure you can attest to a product that you like to use, it's important for you, but sometimes it is not available, so that's a weakness from a company perspective. And threats, changing in customer base, choosing closing of geographical markets, technological advances, change in government policies, increasing of taxes, change of demographic of population, new distribution channels, and that can be harmful to your business, and this can be helpful to your business. So it's what it is. But what we are saying is that as you're analyzing your internal and external environment, unpack as much as you can, brainstorm as much as you can, so that you come up with the real big ticket items for your business. So that was under analyzing the internal and external environment. And performance of a SWOT analysis and documentation document, the steps to follow: establish the objectives, select the contributors, who are the champions, who is your committee of experts who's going to sit here, allocate research and information gathering tasks, create a workshop environment, list SWOT analysis, evaluate listed ideas against objectives, carry out your findings forward, So let's look at the details. Okay. So who'd like to read for us there? Just the way they are on the screen. Is that right or wrong? Just the way they are on the screen, my fellow participants.
All right, I will read.
Thank you, Maurice.
Number 1, establish the objectives. You should determine the purpose of conducting a SWOT. It may be wide, narrow, general, or specific. Number 2, select contributors. Expert opinion may be required for SWOT. Number 3, allocate research and information gathering tasks. Background preparation can be carried out in 2 stages: exploratory and detailed. Information on strengths and weaknesses should focus on the internal factors, and information on opportunities, threats should focus on the external factors. 4, create a workshop environment. You should encourage an atmosphere conducive to the free flow of information. 5, list SWOT analysis, list the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in the SWOT matrix. 6, evaluate listed ideas against objectives. After the lists are compiled in the SWOT matrix, you should sort and group facts and ideas in relation to the objectives. 7, carry your findings forward. Make sure that the SWOT analysis is used in subsequent planning. Revisit your findings at suitable time intervals.
Very true. Thank you very much, Maurice. So that's the steps, make sure that you have the people who will support it, you have the clear objectives, you are listing the SWOT analysis as many as they are, you're grouping, and you're making sure that you now carrying your findings forward to actualize it into a live environment. Thank you very much. Okay. Prepare an action plan after the SWOT analysis has been completed. You should make sure that each point with things that must be addressed immediately, things that can be handled later, things that should be researched further, things that should be planned for in future. You see, immediate, my short-term goals, my mid-term goals, my long-term goals. That's the same, that we know that we cannot chew everything that is on the plate. Some of the things will need further thought. Some of the things are very quick wins that we can address and put them into action. And some of the things we see that we can pack them in the future and not forget. Yesterday, I actually had said that never miss everything, put it down. You never know when it will be time for you to pick it and run with it, okay? So, brainstorming, a very important stage in SWOT analysis. Any question there where we've come from? Prepare the plans, so we analyze the internal steps, analyze internally and externally, perform the SWOT analysis. That is where the rubber meets the road, and prepare your plans for the future. Okay, so what's brainstorming in your opinion? Brainstorming. Let's brainstorm. Someone meets in the corridor. Catherine, have you heard about that project that is coming up? Yes. I'd like you to help me brainstorm. What is brainstorming? It's just there. What's brainstorming? Why do people like to brainstorm?
I think it's bringing in a pool of new ideas, different ideas.
I think brainstorming is like...
Joseph, then Alex. Joseph had not finished. Thank you.
Yeah. I was saying it's just bringing in a pool of new ideas, new thoughts, with the name of achieving something better and unique.
Yeah, something better and unique. Thank you very much. Alex, was it Alex? Who was next on the line? Was it Jeff?
Jeff, yes.
Yeah.
It's like getting the opinions of other people concerning at hand. That's now brainstorming.
Exactly. Yeah. So brainstorming, bringing people together to put in their ideas of what they think about a certain objective or an idea that has been put on the table. So everybody puts in their opinion, and people say everything about it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we have a discussion, around that. I know companies which are really put together, some companies have think tanks, they've just said, You are the think tanks, you go think, and it's not research. Just think about these ideas that we have and actualize them and see how life they can be. And some companies will come together and say, we are planning to do this, and every Wednesday there will be sandwich in the conference room. Come, let's discuss those ideas. Feel free, and we are happy to whatever. So people can come in intervals, and you will see people really coming in to have that discussion, generate ideas. So there are many ways that we can actually generate ideas in an organization at department level, at divisional level, at company-wide level, and some of the things that we can, some of the fun things that we can put to programs that we can put in place for people actually to generate those ideas, Yeah, so it becomes part of work. Brainstorming is an important aspect of SWOT analysis. Brainstorming is useful in the SWOT analysis as it helps to, like what we have said, think out of the box. We want to be agile. We want to be innovative. We want to be known as an agile company that is very progressive. Provide varied perspectives due to the group discussion. Everybody, everybody has different ideas. By the time I'm saying, we would want, let's go to Naivasha for fishing this weekend. And someone, okay. So, or not even let's go for Naivasha. I hear Naivasha is a very good place to go fishing. Let's brainstorm. And then you might find out, no. So Naivasha is not even if it's the closest for us to be able to go and have a fishing expedition, it would be better for us to go to Sagana, for example. And in Sagana, we might do bungee jumping, we might do kayaking and all those kind of things. So varied perspective of the group, and then what we want to achieve. Maybe it's team building and build it up from there. Provide the liberty to talk and say your mind. Allow you, please someone mute, allow you to break away from traditional methods, our traditional way of thinking. And finally, then I think you need to mute, create an appetite for change. Okay. You should begin brainstorming by asking the following questions. Then you need to mute your mic. Then you need to mute your mic, please. You should begin the brainstorming by asking the following questions. What opportunities exist in our external environment? What threats to the organization exist to our external environment? Now, this is in the context of a SWOT analysis. What are the strengths of our organization and what are the weaknesses of organization? Straightforward questions, no linear, no nothing, we are coming and saying, this is what it is. And then when maybe there's a facilitator who's doing that and they're asking these questions. So for all of us to be able to contribute and say, let's start doing this, this is what is existence, things like that. Very important. So when the brainstorming session ends, you should keep the following things in mind. You keep the following things in mind and take action accordingly. Then please mute your mic.
Okay.
Please mute your mic. So reduce the list of strengths and weaknesses to more than 5 distinct competencies and deliberating weaknesses. Put in context exactly what is most important for you. Instead of having all these things that you are trying to do, you should be able to do what? Put down in perspective. Let me try hold then to ask him to mute his mic. Yeah, he's muted. So, and then identify strengths that should be distinctive competencies, reduce strengths and opportunities to 5 each of the ones that are most critically important. The identified weaknesses should be deliberating. So that's what you should do. Make sure that you don't have a big list that will confuse you to do what you should not be doing, but actually bring in together just the things that are most important for you. That's the most important thing. So that's the brainstorming and how it should end. Of course, thanking everybody who has come in and whatever. Then we can only hear you. Please mute your mic. So guidelines to brainstorming. The following are a few guidelines to brainstorming. Everyone must participate. How does the chair of the brainstorming session make sure that everybody is participating? What are some of the things that they can do? The person you have called is not reachable. What can they do? Everyone must participate. How can the facilitator nudge people to participate?
The possible way I would encourage participants to participate. For an example, role plays. I will ensure indeed people they work through some simulations and role plays during the discussions. And I would also give each and every participant also some activity to do. So it mustn't be just me facilitating, no. But just apportion some parts of the sessions to some of the participants to take lead.
Very true. Very true. Just making sure that you are nudging out everybody, making sure that you're even giving assignments. There's a role play, please read out, making sure that everybody is participating. Any other way that a facilitator can make sure that everybody is participating? Any other way?
Make every contribution important. Let every contribution count. Doesn't matter what.
Doesn't matter what. Thank you very much for that contribution. So make sure that everybody is participating, nudge out, even the people who are very quiet. You haven't spoken today. Is there anything that has come to your mind that is important within this, within this session? What do you think? Or even just say, what do you think about that point? You know, we know that you're very good at finalizing and giving the final remarks or something like that. You know, just make sure that you draw everybody to participate. Just like what Mary has said, no idea is stupid. Consider everybody's contribution as valid and important. You must make people feel important, and you must make people feel that whatever they are contributing is valid to this, because after all, you will come and unpack them and say, we've got all these ideas now. How can we make sure that we match them to what it is, the goal that we are trying to achieve, and really come up with the sentences or the paragraphs or the phrases that we are going to put in our quadrants. Build on each other ideas. It is not necessary that you have to agree with everyone else. That's the most important thing. You don't have to agree, but put them there. And then after that, now put them together, put your points together, and a pattern will start emerging. But not agreeing does not mean that you are disagreeing. You might just have a different opinion, you know, and let's pack it. Let's put them all together. You might just see that idea falls off, and the person who contributed will come and say, oh, for sure, this is not the time that, maybe this is not, for sure, I can see that this point I made is not relevant for this time now, you know, but remember, you will pack everything for the future. You might be able to use it in the future. One of the things as human beings is that we are very poor listeners. We make judgment, and we are quick to finish people's sentences. We are quick not to be very present in our listening. So actively listening, being very present, be very alive to the environment, to the said and to the unsaid, gives you a lot of information. And also people's body language, you know, gives away a lot. It's 80%. 80% of our communication is non-verbal. Only 20% is verbal. So always take the opportunity during whatever meeting that you have, to actively listen, not just during brainstorming, but it's one of the key skills for any successful leader and any successful individual. Okay, so use initial ideas as a jumping off point for more ideas. You know, you've said this, so that might just drive the whole agenda for that session. You know, just one thing that someone has said and might just anchor, and it really draws on to the goal that we are looking at, or the objective. It might just be the driver that gets us from Egypt to Canaan. Ask and ask and ask more questions. Have fun while you gather the ideas. You know, don't you love going to a fun-filled meeting activity? You know, it's never that serious. Don't major on the minors. Don't major on the minors. Yes, you know, just let it be. Let people let down their guard and let them contribute as much as you can. This is the only way you're able to come up with your SWOT analysis, for you to come up with an award-winning strategy. You know, if or whatever you are trying to do, this is the only way. Seek first to understand before being understood. A very good point in business, and be open-minded. Okay, great. So let's take a real-life example of a SWOT analysis. Again, McDonald's. Who'd like to read the story of McDonald's? McDonald's is a famous fast food analysis. I mean, retail fast food store in the US and in many other countries. Who'd like to read McDonald's story? Please, someone unmute themselves.
I'll go.
Thank you.
A real-life example. McDonald's Corporation, or McDonald's, is the world's largest chain of hamburger fast food restaurant. It serves around 68 million customers daily across 119 countries. A McDonald's restaurant is operated by a franchise, an affiliate, or the corporation itself. The corporation's revenues come from the rent, royalties, and fees paid by the franchise, as well as sales in company-operated restaurants. Let us look at a basic SWOT analysis of McDonald's.
Okay, can you imagine? It serves 68 million customers daily. So this is Kenya, and Kenya, we are 54, and maybe which is a country that has like 14 people. This is now Zambia and Kenya combined. All of us eating there across 119 countries. How many countries are there in the world? I don't know. I used to know. I don't know. Anyway, whichever, but those are many countries to be in. So, what are their strengths? Someone read for us their strengths. Or Jeff, you can continue, read the strengths of McDonald's.
Okay.
Amazing.
Strengths, ranks, and the ladies, we have Sylvia and Mary. Please represent the gender.
Yes.
and participate. We seem to dominate with Maurice and my friend Joseph there. Now, strengths, ranks a very high on the Fortune magazine's most admired list. Also community oriented, global orientations all over the world, cultural diversity in the foods, excellent location, assembly line operations, use of top quality products.
Their strengths, that's what they're known for. Can you imagine by the time they brainstormed and getting there to Fortune 500 company, what they had done over years and over time, and what they know themselves internally. This is what we are known for, and this is what we'll capitalize on. Okay, Mary, weaknesses?
Okay, failed the pizza test market, thus limiting their ability to compete with pizza providers. High training costs due to high turnover, minimal concentration on organic foods, not much variation in seasonal products, quality concerns due to franchised operations, focused on burgers, fried foods, which are not healthier options for their customers.
Yeah, isn't it? And we all know about fast foods. It's the same. They tried and tested pizza. There were other better pizza people, and they went on with their whatever. So these are really high labor, high training costs due to high labor turnovers, because they pay the minimum wage. It's just a restaurant grabbing whatever. So most of their people whom they employ are actually students, university students who have, they come make their money, they go. The following day, they don't have to come. So there's always a high turnover. Opportunities, who wants to go with opportunities, please?
Let me go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Opening more joint ventures, that's an opportunity. Being more responsive to healthier options. Mm-hmm. Advertising Wi-Fi services in the branches, expanding on advertising, on being more socially responsible. Expansions of business into newly developed parts of the world. Open products to allergen-free options such as peanut-free.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, so they know, they're listening to what the consumer is saying, and being more alive to what we can do about the opportunities which are out there, and bring them in so that we can continue excelling. Finally, the threats that they have, they do understand, and they have packed them and looking at them closely. Someone who would like to unpack them for us? Anyone? So the threats are marketing strategies that entice people from small children to adults, lawsuits for offering unhealthy foods. So you wonder, you are taking me to court, and you are the one who came to eat in my restaurants. People are people, you know, complex. Contamination risks that include the threat of E. coli contaminants, the vast amount of fast food restaurants that open as competition, downturn in economy affecting the capability of consumer spending power, focus on healthier dieting by consumers, you know, fast food, and that's a real threat that they know that this can happen. So a real good example of look at where we were as the SWOT analysis for Walmart, and now we come to a SWOT analysis of a different industry altogether. So just to keep you to appreciate that the SWOT analysis for your company will be different, you know, depending on the environment that you operate in, the jurisdiction, the consumer patterns, the government regulations and stuff like that. So you need to have that brainstorming session for you to really understand your industry, your company, and be able to actually put them very articulately for everybody to understand. And the thing is that the same way people understand your values and the culture in your organization is the same, is the second thing that people should understand your SWOT analysis for your organization. Then they will be so easily drawn in your strategy and executing your strategy. You know, but we miss this important point during onboarding, because we've never done a SWOT. Anyway, you don't even know when's the last time you did a SWOT analysis, you know. But if you have actually time to time checked on your SWOT, then it's easier for you to sell your strategy to people who are already there internally, or people who are coming in, or even investors who are coming in, for you to be able to understand where you came from. It's not just a picky ponky, father had a donkey, the donkey died, and this is the strategy that we put in place. It must have come from a point of knowledge. So SWOT-driven strategic planning. The SWOT analysis can be effectively used for strategic planning in an organization. However, utilizing a SWOT for strategic planning requires looking beyond the current firm's current products or services, matching strength with opportunities, which means that the strengths should be translated into capabilities, converting weaknesses into strengths, investing in key areas such as customer support, R&D, promotion, employees training, etc., understanding the factors that weaknesses cannot be converted into strengths become limitations. So this is how, you've done now the SWOT analysis. So let's come now and start developing our strategic plan. And towards driven strategic planning, how do we need to plan for us to be able to now finally develop the strategy and the strategy to be unveiled to everybody? So these are some of the things that you can do. It's not exhaustive, but very, very common, very traditional, for you to be able now to start planning. So again, look clever, look very alive to the fact that I work in this organization. This is what I'm able to bring. Hey guys, before now we've done the SWOT, we want to do the strategic plan. Before we do develop it, we now must also strategize. And then people will think, oh, you're too clever. You're too clever for us. You're too clever for organization. You're good for us. We didn't know how good you are for our organization until we met you, until we started discussing this. So as we prayed in the morning, as we have always said in these webinars, from farm to fork, it's the same thing. What you learn here, the things that we share, take them quickly to your workplace so that you actualize them. Never miss an opportunity. Never miss an opportunity to bring this so that you can support your organization. So very quickly, just moving on. So in the interest of time, so how do you come about with an effective SWOT analysis? The following, can you see? They're not upside. We'll try to invert them, but it's okay. The following, the considerations to be kept in mind for conducting an effective SWOT analysis. Staying focused, like what we have said, and I won't belabor on it. Searching extensively for competitors, collaborating with other functional areas, examining issues from the customer's perspective, separating internal issues from external issues, being very, very clear in what you want to do. Searching extensively for competitors. Is this something that you're willing to do or you're willing to look at? I think it's something that you cannot shy away from. And sometimes even when you do this SWOT analysis and you don't feel that you have the capacity or you want just a second eye for the eye for principle to come in, you can always call an expert, and the experts actually would say, what's the end purpose? You want to achieve a certain goal. This is the goal that you want to achieve. Either new products, you're doing anything in the organization that is big, that will affect the organization, or it's leading to developing of a new strategic plan. So the expert will come and say, well, we first need to do a SWOT analysis, and this is an intense part, and everybody must be able to participate. So a good internally, you can use this, and if you work with an expert, you'll expect them to support you in some of these things or ask you these questions around this area. So what does it mean to stay focused? It is very important to focus on specific products and markets. You should learn to adopt the marketing mix to address environmental issues. It is also crucial to examine overall strategic business units. You should be sure to conduct a SWOT analysis for each product market combination. Okay. Searching extensively for competitors. You see, even that guy has put on binoculars to make sure that where am I searching? I should search far and wide and even near, leaving nothing to chance. It is critical for conducting effective SWOT analysis that you do not overlook any competitor, both current as well as future competitors. How will you know your future competitors? You might ask. There are many ways. Business intelligence, what is happening internally. You might even know that if we are, this is the company that we work in. Catherine and Mary have been talking a lot, and they might just go and do what? Form the same kind of business and start it out. So you must be able to preempt your future competitors. You should consider all competitors, including the following: product competitors, generic competitors, total budget competitors. You know, that's the thing, you know, in terms of who are my competitors. Anything that would reduce your turnover, your profits, your shares in the market, that is your worthy competitor. Collaborating with other function areas. Collaboration is very key. We've been talking about it a lot, and it's a buzzword right now in the business world. An effective SWOT analysis can only be achieved by collaborating with other functional areas. You cannot work in silos. Such collaboration stimulates communication outside normal channels. You know, we are buddies now. We understand. We've been in those brainstorming sessions. I really understand how Catherine thinks and how she likes doing her things, how she puts up her ideas, how she supports her ideas, how she supports the ideas of other people and stuff like that. So you get to create a good rapport. Collaboration also results to varied information from diverse sources and diverse groups. It also provides an outsider's perspective in the SWOT analysis development. So collaboration internally, collaboration externally with other functional areas. You know, you might also ask your customers to come and help you in this collaboration process. You could collaborate with various other function areas, and those are some of the departments that you could collaborate with. I've already mentioned that. So examining issues with customers' perspectives in SWOT, it is very important that you learn to examine issues from the customer's perspective while conducting the SWOT analysis, you know, and what are some of the things that you can consider, you know, things that are really with you and they're easy to understand. What is your product? What's the quality of the product that you produce? Yesterday, we even asked ourselves why our company produces this item. Why would I not buy it? I'm buying the competitor's item. You know, why would I do that? And we gave the questions: customer service, price, value, convenience, promotional. Okay. You should also benchmark the customer segment evaluations. In order to carry out the customer segment benchmarking, you should consider the following areas. Consider internal customers, your employees. Consider all relevant stakeholders such as investors and stockholders. Remember that if you have investors want a return on their investments. You know, if you have invested in the stock exchange, some of you maybe have invested in the stock exchange, and you see a notice of profit share, of profit. They call it profit what? Profit warning. And you read and say, I won't get a dividend payoff this year, you know, and you feel bad, definitely. One of the things that companies must consistently do is return a dividend to their shareholders. That is something that they have promised to do, and that's something that they should do at all times. But sometimes it doesn't go right, and it doesn't go right because they are not doing what is expected. Yesterday, we talked about governance. We talked about financial muscles. We talked about customers' preference with the goods and services. We talked about the environment that you are working in. Think about the sugar companies. Really, very difficult. I don't know whether it's difficult or it's just how it has been managed over many years, but I keep thinking that there's such dire need to overhaul the sugar industry. And anybody who tries, and take a case of Mumias, if you have shares in Mumias, your goose is fried. There's nothing. I don't even know whether they're still listed in the stock exchange, for example. People who had put a lot of their money, invested a lot of their money there, it means that they are not getting a return. And also their initial investment, they can't even now recoup it, because even if they try to sell the shares, they've really dropped. That said and done, is that where did the rain start beating them? Because even the administrator who was sent there to try and revive it has been defeated. Could they perhaps have done SWOT analysis over time, all the time, to be able to see where they are? Would a SWOT analysis have helped them to better understand and to better plan? Would they be alive and kicking at this time? Perhaps they would have been. I'm not saying SWOT analysis will help everything, but it's important to know where you should start. Simple processes. Even when we begin at department level, why don't we begin at department level? Maybe that's what management had said. You go and debate at the department level. Then we come at divisional level. Then we come at ESCOM level, and we unveil things that really can work. So don't companies, by the time they are really going down, by the time it's nose diving down south, a lot would have been put in place to salvage it. And one of the things is a SWOT analysis. Okay. Separating internal and external issues, it is very important for you to understand that there are concerns beyond external issues in an organization that may be at internal level. The biggest problem and challenge faced while carrying out a SWOT analysis is the failure to understand the difference between internal and external issues. It is critical that you separate internal issues, strengths and weaknesses, from external issues, which are strengths and external issues. Sorry, there should have been opportunities and threats. So sorry about that. It's a typo. Okay, great. Did you know SWOT analysis is greatly used in competitor analysis? Marketers build detailed profiles of each competitor in the market, focusing especially on their relative competitive strengths and weaknesses by using SWOT analysis. Marketing managers examine each competitor's cost structure, sources of profits, resources and competencies, competitive positioning and products differentiation, degree of vertical integration, historical responses to industry development, and other factors. The management often conducts market research to obtain this information about its competitors. So, you see marketing managers going to the supermarket, and you will see them with the merchandisers, and they're asking questions and writing some notes. They're out making all this information so that they can go back and analyze competitors' analysis. They are buying expensive data, going to Facebook and saying, please sell me data about my competitors, which industry are you in? I'm in the motor car industry. Which brands do you want, which models, do you want SUVs, do you want salons, and then they get that information and they analyze all that information and they're able to come up with strategies. So it is important just to see who in your organization will be tasked with going out and getting information about your competitors, products, prices, history, stuff, and everything. And how do you get it? You can't get it unethically. That's also something else, because if they find out, you will be liable for huge fines and stuff like that. But information that is out there, nobody can stop you from having that information. So that is how you cut yourself above the rest in carrying out a SWOT analysis and moving on. So recap. What are the 4 effective SWOT analysis? Just one. Say one. What should we do? what did we talked about them? We talked about collaboration. Mary.
Searching intensively for competitors. For the competition.
Exactly. In fact, I've put them up there just as a summary. Thank you, Mary. Someone else? Someone else? So those are the ones, staying focused, looking for your competitors, collaborating internally and externally, examining issues from customers' perspective. You must listen to the customer, separating internal issues from external issues. And finally, making sure that overall you are ring-fencing it with what taking out and getting the data that is required. Okay, great. So a template, this is how a template looks like. Just giving you the tools through and through in terms of what you can do so that you don't go out and say, hey, Catherine, are there templates? A very simple template, A template for carrying out a SWOT analysis is given in the next screen, which I have projected. I'll project it again. You should fill the quadrants of the metrics and state what you are assessing here. Also, there are a few examples, whatever we have given. So what would it be? Criteria example, strengths and weaknesses. You put the criteria, all the examples that you have given. Then you look at your weakness, you put them down as your strengths, you put them down as your weaknesses, then you form a pattern. Yeah. So you ask yourself those hard questions. You must ask the hard so fearful and whatever. I don't know. I don't want to ask these questions, as management. What do we do now? Be brave enough and come and say, this is it. By asking the right questions, then it helps you analyze and be able to come up with a real good SWOT analysis here. So just questions, do you have accreditations, qualified certificates? Do you have good processes, IT systems? You say yes or no. Do you have good management succession planning? You say, well, it's done in pockets, but on our overall scale of 1 to 10, no, it's still at a 3. So it means you don't have. We do it in pockets, or we do it very well. We feel that all our critical positions have already been identified and there's a fallback process and plan. So you give yourself a 7 out of a 10, So ask yourself all those questions that could actually help you come up with the right things to do for your business. Any question here? The template? Any question? Any question? So opportunities, Chris. Some of the examples you can take. What is a company? What are the company opportunities your company has? Are you a global influencer? Are you a local influencer? These are just examples. Competitors' weaknesses. What do I see that? Business products development, and under the threats criteria, you can ask yourself about what are some of the things that I see around political, legislative changes, new technology, cash flow problems, And I think one of the things that businesses have already started thinking about, both local, regional, and international, is our elections for 2022. Is it going to be a threat to our business? And then after that, they say 2 years again, we are still thinking who won, who did not win, who is aligned to me, who did what damage and stuff like that. 2 years are gone. And then we only work for 1 year. And then we start the campaign period 2 years before. So because we can see it now, that's how business goes. Have you found a cycle of how the political stability is and crafted a SWOT analysis around the political arena in Kenya, political arena in another country that you work in? That's a big basis. There's some countries where the elections really don't care much about them. They come and go, you know, but the political environment in every country is a big, big, big threat in terms of how you do business. And have you mapped it out? And have you said, in the case of this happens, this is what we do. If this does not happen, this is what we will do, you know, stuff like that. So it's important for you to keep that in mind, even for your small business that or big business. Why am I assuming it's a small business? Even for your big business, you're able to do that and make it going. Okay, so that video is not there. What do you think are some of the benefits of a SWOT analysis? It can be as many as we are in this class. We are winding up now. We are winding up. Benefits of a SWOT analysis from all the discussions that we have had. Let's a good recap.
Yeah, for me, Catherine, I think it brings in objectivity and documentation. If you are asked how have you arrived at that particular decision, it's something that you can produce and share with stakeholders.
Exactly.
To say, this is how I have arrived at this decision. We did a SWOT analysis, and on the basis of the following, these were the strengths that we came up with. These were the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. Or you can do it the other way, the toss, and to say, okay, we looked at our threats, our opportunities, our weaknesses, and strengths. So this is what I'm recommending on the basis of this analysis.
Yeah, you have a real firm foundation to be able to defend the decision that you have taken. Yeah, because you can take people through the process, which is fair and objective. It is not mad with any cloud. It is as clear as day and night. Someone else, there can be as many as we are here, please. Anybody else? Anything that you'd like to think about? Advantages. What are the benefits of carrying out a SWOT analysis? Okay, let's look at them. It's a simple process which lowers costs. Definitely, you're able to look at where your costs are. No extensive training is required. I don't think. I mean, it's a simple, very simple illustrative tool, you know. And now, even when you get an opportunity, everybody is able to do a SWOT analysis, the 4 quadrants, and have those discussions around a goal that you want to achieve. Okay, it is flexible, hence enhances strategic planning. It facilitates its integration and hence synthesizes qualitative and qualitative information. It facilitates collaboration and hence encourages interdepartmental coordination. It is easy to use. It is an important and useful decision-making tool. It helps in knowing who your competitor is. It helps framework. It's a helpful framework for managers to think about the organization's external environment and internal strengths and weaknesses. You know, we think about our internal and external environments. We go on to say that it helps a company to configure strategies that will put the company at a competitive advantage, leveraging on all their 4 quadrants. It provides well-rounded information that promote a well-informed decision. It helps in forecasting and provides a variety of information critical for forecast variables. You agree? Motivates people. There could be many. Let's continue. It helps to forecast the threats that can impact the business. It helps in setting objectives for strategic planning. It provides a good framework for identifying and analyzing strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, or threats for your organization. It provides an impetus for analyzing a situation and develop suitable strategies and tactics. It provides a basis for assessing core capabilities and competencies from your team that you have. It provides a stimulus to participation in a group experience, isn't it? And finally, it's very helpful in solving problems. It's helpful in implementing change. It is useful in developing strategies for achieving the organizational objectives and mission. You know, really helps in achieving, even just driving your culture in organization. Very helpful in implementing change. The only thing that people don't like is, the only constant thing that is there in the world is change. But people don't like change. But if you have a SWOT analysis and you've been able to look at it in a way that is very objective, you've outlined it so that people can be receptive to the change that you want to make. Any question, any reaction to those many, to some of the, how is it a simple process that lowers costs? If I may ask you.
You don't need to, Catherine, you don't need to hire an external consultant to come and do it for you.
Exactly.
It's a tool that you can do it yourselves in the organization.
Exactly. It's a simple tool. Anybody can use it for your own individual, for department, and for the company. It's very easy. We know exactly what it is. As long as we are clear with the objectives and the goals that we want to achieve, you know, we don't have to pay expensive external experts to come and do it for us. Okay, great. Thank you. It facilitates collaboration and hence encourage interdependence coordination. We've already said that that's very important in terms of whatever I'm picking, a helpful framework for managers to think about their organization's internal and external strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and strengths. I'll not go through it again. I was just looking at some of the ones that can jump up to us and try and summarize the whole of the benefits in a few words. So what are, as much as the SWOT analysis is a great tool to use, there could be also instances where what happens, that it could have challenges, isn't it? Like anything else in the world, even if it is the best thing, it will always have some challenges or some disadvantages. Think about Facebook, a global company, you know, much loved Fortune 500. The other day, what happened is that they were in the limelight, that they put profit before people, that they don't protect data the way it's supposed to be protected. And there was a whistleblower. And of course, the government, the US government, actually started investigating it. Facebook is always being investigated, and the owner's being told to go and explain what is happening. 2 days later, it crashed, you know. The platforms, the 3 platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and which is the other one? I don't know. Which is the other platform? WhatsApp. It crashed, and we were wondering what has happened. Isn't it? It just stopped working, and we just thought, well, what's happening here? So, as what I'm trying to say is that even when you see it all nice, all going very well, there must be some challenges that in the background. That's the same thing in organization, in families. You know, we try as much as possible, but we know we are not. Challenges will always be there. They're not far away from us. So there are various pitfalls of a SWOT analysis, such as, someone read for us, someone take us through this session. So almost coming to the end, actually towards the end of the last one. So those through, or even when you think about it, since we have been, we've been talking, would like to read? Sylvia, are you there? Are you able to read for us? Okay. Or Joseph?
Yeah. Okay. There are various pitfalls of SWOT analysis, such as follows. It can be very subjective, and hence people rarely come up with the same final version of SWOT. Use it as a guide and not as a prescription. Okay, the other one is it may cause organizations to take a very simple view of the circumstances or situation. This may lead to the overlooking of certain key strategic points. And the third one, we have categorizing aspects as strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats may be very subjective, and there is great degree of uncertainty in market.
Okay, continue, Joseph, please. This is the last slide of pitfalls.
Okay.
In order?
Yeah, in order to be effective, SWOT needs to be conducted regularly. The pace of change makes it difficult to anticipate developments. It lacks detailed structure, so key elements may get missed. And the final one is the data used in the analysis may be based on assumptions that subsequently proved to be unfounded.
Thank you very much. Do you guys agree? Let's unpack. Yeah, thank you, Joseph. Very clear. So, sir, it will not be 100%, and that's why I say that is important. It's a great tool to use. We cannot overemphasize that. However, we must really understand why we are using the SWOT analysis, and also at the same time, not just use it in isolation and say, this is the one tool that is going to take us to Canaan. No. It won't work well for us. We must be able to challenge some of the status quo, challenge it, and also challenge other tools that we should be using in the organization for us to come up with real, credible conclusions, especially if it is things that, like, let's say, that touch on the human autonomy. For example, if you're a doctor or something like that, or a lab or a research pharmaceutical company, because there are various aspects of, let's say, we are making the vaccine for COVID, then I'm sure maybe a SWOT analysis was done, and they used many other tools for them to be able to come and say, this is what really we should be using. So a great tool, but it's also good for us to know that there could be some instances where we need to look further beyond the SWOT analysis so that we don't create any ambiguity along our company's objectives, culture, strategy, what people would want to see, what people would want to feel, the perceived and the unperceived. So important for us to remember that. So, and some of the common mistakes, our last slide, more common mistakes that we make in SWOT analysis. It is very important to conduct a SWOT analysis that is effective and produces results. However, there are certain common mistakes that we make, that people tend to make while conducting a SWOT analysis. The 5 most common mistakes that people make while conducting a SWOT analysis are relying on the SWOT as a holistic diagnostic strategy. We've already talked about it in the previous slide. Conducting an analysis only once, and we have seen that it should be a continuous process, not taking input from others, and we have actually seen that that will be a big pitfall. It's a big pitfall in the SWOT analysis environment. Keeping a very narrow focus instead of bringing yourself out, and you've got all these ideas, but you still want to be very narrow tracked and not accommodating the big grand ideas because maybe you're fearful or you don't just feel that you're ready. Unclear goals or unclear objectives. Unfortunately, that happens a lot because we are vague in our goals and we don't know what to do about it. So the tip is, it is crucial that you should know where to find the information that is needed to conduct a SWOT analysis. We cannot overemphasize that data and information is very critical and is very key. We also, another tip just to help us in in not getting into those mistakes that we have discussed earlier, these mistakes, we must also it will be helpful to search various journals and marketing strategies and human resource to find out more published and referenced information on the company's past experience, its current position, and future objectives. Take time to understand the organization and environment. For finding the essential information for conducting a SWOT analysis, you may need to look at the company's business reports, annual reviews, published information, performance data on financial resources, customer service, marketing and operations, including current suppliers and key stakeholders and groups. So just bringing everybody together, externally, internally, the reports that have been there in the past, and journals, publication, anything that really touches on the organization, bring it. We say, come on, for us to be able to not get into these pitfalls that can really make us not analyze the SWOT analysis well. So, tips for effective SWOT analysis. Always be realistic about the strengths and weaknesses of the organization. Be very realistic. Sometimes we want to paint a picture of another company that is there, of our competitor. Oh, my competitor is doing very well. We work in the same environment. We have the same kind of skill set. No, you don't. You need to be realistic and call yourself to a meeting. Be very honest, be very authentic and realistic of your strengths and weaknesses as an organization. Don't mirror what. In fact, sometimes people come and say, just give us your strategic plan and also your SWOT analysis. We are doing the same business. No, why you started your business is very different from the other person. You don't know their passion. You don't know where their money came from. Yes, we want to sell bulbs, but bulbs come in every shape, size, and whatever, consumer preferences and stuff like that, geographical location and things like that. SWOT analysis should distinguish between where your organization is today and where it could be in the future. We have to preemptively understand where our business will be in the next 5 years. If you cannot, then, and that's my challenge for you today, as employees or as employers, have you thought about where your business will be in the next 5 years? What will it be doing? What will it look like? Who will be supporting you in those new ventures that you want to come in? I mean, that's long term, but it should be here. You should start planning for it. Should always be specific, avoid any gray areas. Keep your SWOT short and simple for everybody to understand. Always apply SWOT in relation to your competition that is better than the worst than your competitor. Always apply in relation to your competition that is better than or worse than your competitor. So be ahead of the game. Always keep SWOT in mind that SWOT is subjective. I've subjected myself and I've boxed myself here, but I need to run the race and I need to win. Avoid complexity and overanalysis. Once you have identified the key issues with your SWOT analysis, they feed into your marketing objectives, and they definitely also feed into your strategy. Okay. So in summary, these are just things that we had actually gone, the first practice that we did. We can do this. Would you like to do this? Global Bus is a leading car manufacturer, has decided to launch a low budget car in the market. Perform a SWOT analysis for the situation. What do you think are their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for them to launch a new low-car budget in the market today? You could consider the market conditions prevailing around you to perform the SWOT analysis. So this is how they look like. the question. Someone read for us the answers, the strengths for the low budget car that Global Bus has decided to take, the opportunities and the threats.
The strengths, the strengths, no competition in the low budget segment, environment friendly, economic to drive, government subsidies, 8% excise duty, a low price, small and compact size.
Yeah, thank you very much. So those are the strengths. They've gone out and they've said, this is what we want to do. I like the small and compact size. It can fit in any parking space in Kenya. So strengths, weaknesses, my strengths, my weaknesses. What will Global Bus weaknesses be?
Okay, weaknesses are one, lesser features, low aesthetic appeal, small driving range that is up to 80 kilometers, competition from economy segment vehicles.
Very true, isn't it? Very obvious of what it is. This is what they would, people, will they relate with it and stuff? Yeah. What are the opportunities that are available to them? Sylvia, continue.
Opportunities, we have huge untapped low budget segment market, growing demand of green technologies, rising fuel costs, and growing road congestion in urban cities.
Isn't it? Very, very good opportunities. And the strengths, finally, someone? Or Sylvia, you can also continue.
The threats, we have government incentives to other segment vehicles, entry of competitors, stringent safety requirements anticipated, and availability of hybrid vehicles.
Exactly. So if you are Global Bus, would you consider getting into this business after you do a SWOT analysis like this ones? Yes or no? Would you continue with the business venture?
Yes, yes. Me, I would.
Why would you, Maurice?
Because in this in the car business segment, I will be the only one who has got a low budget vehicle. So it gives me a uniqueness and distinction in the market.
Fantastic.
And also low price, low price of the vehicle. Remember, the whole essence to most of the customers is to move from point A, point B. So the price of the vehicles will be low.
Yeah, very true. You have everything working to your advantage as Globus company in this business venture that you want to get into, because it says no competition in low budget segment. Leave other segments already full of competition, but the fact that you have identified that is a strength, that's it. And then you're also looking at the green economy where everybody wants to go into. By the time everybody realizes that that's where the world wants to go into, congestion in urban cities, so small and compact in size. You tell people, oh, but you're able to park this car. It only goes at 80 kilometers. Weaknesses, you can, but this car only goes at 80 kilometers. Why would you want to go more than 80 kilometers for your own health and safety? So you're able to counter all those weaknesses and threats and come and make sure that you are winning. So when you think about mini, where do you think that these people would fall in those 4 quadrants? What is working for them? Where would they make the final decision? They have more going for them, isn't it? Compared to them thinking that this is not a viable business. You agree? You agree?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Isn't it? Yeah, they have more going for them maxi, mini, mini maxi, and mini. I don't think they should be worried at all with. You do think they should be worried about mini, weaknesses and threats right now? You think so?
No.
Not at all, isn't it? In fact, they are so advantaged, they're almost at maxi, isn't it? They've got great strengths. They have identified great strengths internally and great opportunities, isn't it? Yeah. So they are, everything is going on well for them. Well done. Anything else that comes to your mind? You see, now when you do the SWOT, you come back and just look at your maxi, mini, maxi, and mini, for you to be able to really make the correct decision in terms of whether to venture into what you're planning to. Okay. So that is the summary of the SWOT analysis. So we'll consider, when you have the SWOT analysis, consideration for an effective SWOT analysis. We had a look at that. What are the key elements of a SWOT analysis, steps of a SWOT analysis, the SWOT quadrants that we talked about, and users of the SWOT analysis. Just wrapping up what we have been discussing over the last 2 days. Okay, so summary elements, we have the 4 elements: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Our SWOT analysis, steps to a SWOT analysis: analyzing the external and internal environment, performing the analysis and documenting it. This is where a lot of work is done, like what we said, and then prepare the action plan. And then the SWOT analysis, the 4 quadrants, what we have said: internal strengths match external opportunities. Quadrant number 2, internal weaknesses relative to external opportunities. Number 3, internal strengths match external threats. And finally, internal weaknesses relative to external threats. Fun and real nice way to be able to analyze. Users of the SWOT analysis, we said, is the job holder. We must make sure that the business unit is doing it, and also the company. And then consideration for an effective SWOT analysis, we need to make sure that we are staying focused. We need to extensively know who our competitors are now and in the future, collaborating internally and externally with all functional areas, examining issues from customers' perspective. Customer is the king, and separating internal issues from external issues. And finally, that is the glossary of things that you can pick up from there. Okay, so congratulations, you have finished the course. You've completed the module for what it is. Let me stop share and go back to plenary for questions, or any questions, reactions. Was it useful? What are you taking away that you found useful in the last 2 days?
For me, Catherine, thank you so much for taking time over the last 2 days to engage us on this. I tell you, in most of the instances, yes, we hear SWOT, and you do it. But in most of the instances, there isn't much thoroughness in terms of analysis, pointers to guide you with regards to the do's and don'ts. You just do your SWOT. I remember in the last 2 weeks, in a mentorship session, this colleague of mine said, okay, I've done a SWOT of my career progression to date. And these are the strengths which are coming up, the weaknesses, the opportunity. We discussed, and we haven't finished that conversation. It's ongoing. But this gives us rigor in terms of information, in terms of application. It's something that I would always reference in future discussions. Otherwise, thank you so much.
Oh, you're most welcome. It's good to hear that it's useful and you can be able to reference it back. And now knowing that there's much more that you can build on apart from just saying, well, I've analyzed. What have you analyzed? What have you found out? Where are the risks? What should you be doing further? Thank you very much. Someone else? Yes, Mary? Anybody else? Jeff, Joseph, Sylvia, Mary, good, small, nice class.
Thank you, Catherine. I think also I've noticed a couple of things and learned quite a lot in terms of SWOT analysis. Actually, it's just yesterday I was trying to talk to my siblings, and I was using SWOT to be able to explain to them how they can improve themselves better and improve on what they are doing. Being able to monitor their strengths and weaknesses and opportunities thereof as an individual now. And I think the lesson was quite useful in terms of teaching someone else out there on how to apply SWOT on their own, in their own personal activities or even work. Then also I've learned that SWOT is a continuous process. You don't just do it once and close the books and now you say this is it. It needs an M&E every now and then. You're able to audit the progress, do adjustments, do the changes. If you find that there are constraints that are not able to, they are not aligning to the course that you are performing the SWOT, you are just still on the way because it's a growing venture altogether. So I've really learned also that. Then as an individual, doing SWOT is very crucial as a business unit and also as the company. When the company does SWOT analysis to us, even as employees, they are able to see whether it's actually basically like what we do in terms of performance appraisal, whereby you are able to know now, is this person up to their task? Is this person above average, below average, or exceeds expectation and stuff like that? Then they're able to reward in terms of that. So it was very in-depth in terms of looking at SWOT as a subject. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Thanks for recapping that in terms of where you can use it, what you have done, and also just engaging your family members to use the SWOT analysis to be able to know where they need to go, and just re-emphasizing that it's a continuous process and it can also help and aid in performance reviews and performance management in your organization. Okay, great.
One more, Catherine. Are we able to get maybe a recording, or is it on YouTube Live, or those notes or slides?
Yes. Those are you on the LMS for SCHRP?
Yeah.
Yes, you can reach out to them, and the recordings definitely, even if you want to go after we end this webinar, then the notes will the recording will already be there. So yes, you can for future reference. Yeah. Okay. So if there is no more if there are no more remarks, I would really like to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for coming to attend this training, for your input and for your contribution, for us learning together and making sure that we can go out more. And I also learn that you can imagine I'm also learning what is out there and some of the things that I should also go out and implement as a facilitator. So I wish you well, and I hope to see you in the subsequent webinars. Let's keep doing what we need to do at an individual level, in the department level and also at the company level for us to become better employees, more engaging, more committed, and just looking at some of the opportunities that really come our way and how do we grab them. So now, midterm and long term. So I wish you a good rest of the day and God bless you. Bye for now.
Thank you, Catherine.
You're most welcome. Nice to see you all. Yeah, see you next time. Yeah. Free to leave the meeting. You're most welcome. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, and bye-bye, Catherine.
Bye now. Yeah. Hello, Dan. Dan, it just says leave webinar and not end of the webinar. Please end it from your end.